We continue our story at the Graveyard of the Giants, where Thor and Ares are basically going to be the first part of our respective journey for the Asgardian trio and their friends, right? And so when they actually do walk through the sea and realize they can breathe through it, they make their way to where Thor can feel this level of magic, a focal point for a lot of it, if you will. The Asgardian magic, where Ares simply asks him, "So, what are we looking for?" To which Thor simply states, "Runes, my friend. Runes of the realms. At least around 10 of them. For all the 10 realms and stuff like that." And Thor begins to explain that Odin had long ago sought to keep these away from any gods, including your father Zeus, beings like Ra, Khonshu, etc. And Ares simply asks why. His father has never given him a reason to do such a thing. Into which Thor simply states that his father wasn't the best. He's been learning that recently, coveting power or hiding power when it should. But he apparently also used this area as a prison. Into which this is where Ares now understands Thor's been looking around cautiously. But he explains, okay, so what did he imprison here with these runes? To which Thor simply talks about a race of beings that were powerful enough to once rival Asgard. Odin then combined them into one. And that being was, and then someone says me. And out comes Mangog, the rage and speed and durability of a billion billions. The beings of unimaginable power that almost destroyed Asgard, or had enough power to rival and destroy Asgard if it came down to it. And Mangog was the combination of it. And he simply tells Thor, well, well, the Odin son himself has come to my domain, and now I shall bury you here. To which Thor and Ares both begin to attack Mangog, even though he knows Odin's dead. He can feel it, he can sense it. It even states that when Odin died, his magic simply unleashed him, if you will. It's such a refreshing that he will now be able to kill the son just like the father. Into which Ares then slashes down on Mangog's arm, allowing him to drop Thor, and he simply tells the Odin son to get to the runes and do what needs to be done. Whatever trial, whatever you gotta do, just do it. He'll hold them off the best he can. And this is where Thor's about to argue, but Ares simply tells him, remember what's at stake. The livelihood of every god and godling across the entire universe, if not beyond. And this is where Mangog simply stands over Ares. You think you can take me? But since you are a god, I guess I can have some fun with you. And this is where Ares simply states, fun with the god of war, you say? Ha! I will wear your skin as a coat, beast. And this is where Thor reaches the runes. And they begin to glow, harmonize with him, as if he was meant to be here. And so it basically goes into his mind. The magic seeps into it. And there he's stuck in a trance and sees his father, Odin, who is the actual Odin here. Still his magic, still his power. And Thor and Odin begin to have a conversation where Thor is upset with him. Upset about everything. About Hela, about Fafnir, about Mangog. You did all these things and you didn't tell us. You didn't share it with us. And to which Odin says he never had to. But Thor grabs him and says, yes, you do. You owe it to us to know what everything is, to know what we are supposed to do. And this is where Odin backhands him. Thor having enough of his father's nonsense, enough of everything that's been going on, learning that his family was nothing more than kind of a sham, if you will. He smacks Odin in his face with Mjolnir, but Odin still again outmatches him. Thor and him trade blows in this realm, while Mangog and Ares, they go at it. And it gets to a point where Mangog tries to bite down on Ares, and this is where he channels all his rage, all his anger into a destructive blast, stating, you want to fight the god of war? Here, taste what it's like. And this is where he unleashes a crimson energy beam into his mouth, right? No diddy. And Mangog eats it. He says, "Did you understand what Odin made me? Rage and war fuel me as much as it does you. Here, have a taste of your own power." And blasts it back. This is where he then begins pummeling on Ares. But Ares doesn't give up one single bit and slashes right at the face of Mangog. And then punches the monster back. He begins wailing on him, but then Mangog catches his axe blow and then gut punches him, grabs him with his tail, slams him over just like Hulk did to Loki, and then throws him across the temple itself, causing him to crash through some walls. He's then about to approach Thor, about to smash him with an overhead, but Ares simply states, "Monster," or he kind of yells it like, "Monster! We are not done." And Mangog is shocked, like, "You won't die." And to simply put it, Ares simply states, "Not as long as I draw breath." And he tackles Mangog away from Thor and begins pinning him to the wall and starts beating on him, unleashing everything he has. He begins to beat him until his own knuckles bleed. But Mangog simply grabs him and simply states, "Enough." And this is where he gives Ares the worst beating he's received, breaking his arms, his legs, and just straight up pummeling over and over and over again. Ares is trying to move, trying to get up. His godly healing factor, it's too slow. Yes, he's repairing himself, but again, it's slow. It's not enough for him. And Mangog is about to finish the deed, but this is where Thor begins to glow. Back in his mental scape, Odin pins him and then points Gundir at him, telling him, "You are not the god you should be. You should have killed your sister, killed her lover dragon, or her dragon lover, and then became the king you were destined to be." To which Thor simply states, "No, never. Never in all my years will I ever become the king like you. One cold, heartless, and ruthless. There was never a difference between me and Hela. Both of us desired to seek glory through combat and conquest, and yet here you are judging us." And this is where Thor simply states one very powerful thing. He will never, ever stoop as low as him, banishing his children to an abyss, banishing those who allied with his children to the farthest reaches of the universe and trapping them on a planet, using his own life force to seal beings that his sons would have to fight. When Thor if he ever decides to become king, he will be a better father than Odin will ever be. And this is where the rune magic begins to resonate with Thor more. Odin tries to strike at him, telling his son, "No, don't do this. Son, you are my father no longer." And this is where even the Odin force itself begins to feel Thor. It begins to fill him up along with the likes of the rune magic. And this is where he actually gets his transformation. His mask becomes a lot more beast-like. The runes themselves, all 10 of them, line his arms. Similar to how, I guess you could say how Charmcaster or Lucky Girl were when they had all the charms of Azazel just lining their arms and bodies and stuff like that. And Mangog and Ares are both knocked back by a godly tornado, when filled with lightning and magic of all sorts, all different kinds, colors, and creations. And so they see and they witness the birth of Rune King Thor. His majesty, his armor, his power. It's nothing like anything seen before. Mangog even charges at him, trying to attack him with everything he's got. But Thor tanks every hit, tanks every blow. Nothing Mangog can do is able to harm him. And Thor tears into him. Hammer blows, overhead strikes, thunder, lightning, magic of all kinds, fire, ice, lightning, wind, earth, even light and darkness itself. Thor has full control over the magic, and Mangog simply states, just end it. To which Thor simply says, "As you wish." To which he combines all the magic he has and erases man god from existence, it's over, right? Oh, no, 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 but he's not done. He sees his comrade Ares, bloodied and beaten on the ground, and simply states, "Sorry, my friend, I, had to overcome something important." To which Ares is like, "Yeah, I can tell. Could you, maybe heal me?" "Oh, yes, of course, my apologies." Into which Ares simply is healed and restored, and feels even stronger than what he was before now. His rage power, or his rage magic, seems amplified, and he simply asks his friend Thor, what do they do now? To which he states they return to Asgard and prepare for Gor's invasion, and just hope that, well, the others can complete their trial. And that's where we're going to leave it off here, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. And I'll see you guys in the next part of What If Hela Turned Good, Loki's story.